Good afternoon, everybody. It's Barb here, and welcome to Meditation and Mindfulness Mondays. And the purpose of this, or the goal that I have for all of you, is to better understand the reasons why meditation is important, and or why to meditate. And I've talked about different ways to meditate, but I know that whenever I'm trying something new, and this probably works for you as well, have you tried to change your nutrition plan or your exercise program? Have you tried meditation because you've heard it's good for you? And we go into it with some motivation, and it kind of dwindles out. And I often think of New Year's resolutions, where we always are motivated for the new year to, try it again. And once again, we lose that motivation. So over the next few Mondays or few months or however long it takes, I want to talk about the reasons why meditation is really good for the mind, body, spirit. And so there's different components. There's the neuroscience behind it. There's the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body. So I'll talk about all of those things each week. And this week, it's just an introduction to the mind itself and how it controls our current life. So we want to remember that every single thing that we experience leaves an impression in the mind. And if it's a negative or fearful response that we have, it sticks to us like glue. And it's mostly because the mind has a negativity bias, which means that if something happens to you that really hurts you or harms you in some way, your mind is trying to protect you from having it happen again. So it just kind of shuts down. Okay. So, and I want to give you an example. So when I was young, I was a brownie and a Girl Scout, and I think I was a Girl Scout at this time, and we went camping. And I was so excited about this camping trip because, we're going out in the woods, all my friends were going, we were camping out, we were sleeping out, we were having, a big fire, and all of this was just so appealing to me. And I have this memory that it's hard for me to share because it's kind of shameful that I felt this way. But we had a fire one night, and a group of children were escorted to the evening, and they had muscular dystrophy, and they were all in wheelchairs, and their physical bodies had such an impact on me. I had never seen anybody with muscular dystrophy before, and I wasn't aware of how the physical body was impacted by it. And I was just scared, it just really landed in me kind of funny. And they brought s'mores with them. And I couldn't eat the s'mores. I was so uncomfortable. And my whole body just felt so tense. And over time, I was embarrassed. I was shameful that I could respond like that. But, it doesn't matter what it is. It matters how it lands in us. So for years, I associated s'mores with that group of children, and I was so uncomfortable that I never ate s'mores again. And, to this day, I don't eat s'mores, not for the same reason, more so that I'm more plant-based, and I'm more aware of the sugar content and processed foods, that kind of thing. But you can see how that fearful moment had such an impact on me. Like, nope, won't do that, because I felt so on edge. So anything fearful is going to have this tremendous impact on the brain. And keep in mind, too, that there were a lot of children there, and they weren't impacted at all. So it doesn't matter what the event is. It matters how we interpret it and how our mind interprets it. So what meditation does is it develops our wisdom mind, or our observation mind. And what that means is that instead of just reacting the same way, we're able to kind of create some space, some calm, that we revisit it. And we realize that moment is impacting my present moment. And so we can kind of shift back and look at it a little bit differently. And we don't give the mind the power to continue to perceive and act the same way. So meditation gives us the power to not change our thoughts, but to realize that we are not our thoughts and emotions. So instead of just reacting the same way, we have the power to say, you know what? I understand where that came from. It's no longer true today. Because one of the things we want to think about is things from the past, whether it's guilt or shame or sadness or non-forgiveness. If we bring them into our present life, we are suffering to some degree. And if we are uneasy, if we're unsure of ourselves, if we're anxious, if we're fearful of what's to come, we're bringing suffering into our present life. So meditation, and we'll talk about all the different ways this happens, but meditation has the ability for us to pull out of those, the past and the future, and become more present. So this is just week 1, and I just want to talk about how if your mind is always spinning, and if you have the baggage from the past that you're still bringing into your current life, or if you're continuously anxious and fearful of what's to come, that you can really make some big changes to your lifestyle through meditation. And I did list a quote that I'll read. It's from Ashley Turner, and Ashley Turner is an incredible yoga teacher and a yoga therapist, and I recently graduated from a 6-month course, a Yoga Psyche Soul course with her, and she really helped me to solidify my meditation practice. Not that I didn't have one prior to it, but it is an everyday thing. And the other thing is we have to try something long enough to see if it really works for us. So starting a new nutrition plan or a new fitness program, if we give it 2 to 3 weeks, it probably isn't long enough to see if it's working for us. And the same is true with meditation. We have to find that motivation to say, you know what, I'm going to just do this to see what happens. So just keep in mind that that's the reason for these videos, is to understand the reason why we are going to try to sit every single day. And so the quote by Ashley is, "I firmly believe that meditation is the number one thing you can do to sustainably improve the quality of your life." And I'm a firm believer of that, not only for my own practice, but from people that I teach, in Barb's Yoga Den or in private lessons, that being able to control and build the muscle of the mind is just tremendous. It's very life-changing. So that's just kind of an introduction of what we'll do on Mondays. We will be talking about the emotional benefits, the mental benefits of meditation, as well as the physical, the neuroscience behind it, etc. So thanks for joining me. Hi, James. Nice to see you on here. Say hi to Bella and Abby for me. So I'll see you next week.